Good morning, everyone. It's Rick. It is July 13th, 2017. If you need to reach me for affidavits, the email is rick0327. On the topic of emails, yesterday I received 74 emails. Right, this is them right here, where it says yesterday. Okay, I don't want to show everybody's email address, and so for privacy reasons, but I'm showing you here. I counted them as 74. Okay, and the reason why I'm bringing that up is, some of you are sending me 4 or 5 a day, and I can't get to every email, right? And I know how important this is, and I'm not minimizing it. I've been where you are a year ago, okay? And I know what I'm doing is I'm giving you guys really good information. I know my paperwork is strong, right? And I'm going to show you an email right here to prove it. Right, because HTY right here, H. Thomas Yates. He went in there. Well, he went in there and laid down the law. But anyway, getting back to the emails, is I don't want to anger anybody if I don't answer your emails. 74 emails is a lot of emails. Okay, in one day, and I can't get to every one of them. And sometimes if you notice some of my responses are very brief. You know what I do? I don't, because I get 74 emails, I scan the emails. Doing this for a while, I learned how to scan. That's also how I do my research. I scan. And that's how I find things. You just scan and you look for keywords. And by scanning, you could get a lot of research done in a short amount of time. Because, there's only so much time in a day. So I learned that from this guy. If you want to learn about the secret history of the United States, there's a guy named Eustace Mullins. He was the only guy to be fired and banned from the Library of Congress because he was doing so much research. See, there's a lot of books that we're not aware of that are taken out of publication, and they're all in the Library of Congress. And there's a lot of stuff written, 100, 200 years ago that today would be considered politically incorrect. And, it's taken out of circulation for a reason. They don't want us to be educated. They want us all to be dumb. They want all of us to watch these stupid reality shows. They want all of us watching Sports Center. Since I've been going through this stuff, I don't give a shit about sports anymore. Okay, and I used to be a high-level softball player. I used to travel the country playing in tournaments. Right, as a softball player. Until I hurt my back. And you realize what's important when somebody's stealing money out of your check, and you can't get them to stop. And then you've come to find out that all of these rights that we supposedly have, we have the rights, but we have to fight for them. Okay? And that's the hard part, is to get somebody to listen. So, what I'm trying to say to you guys, can you please go easy on the emails? Okay? Unless it's absolutely important. Okay? I know your life, this is difficult. I understand. I said it before, but please go easy on emails. I mean, 1 a day would be great, not 4 or 5. I mean, come on. Be a little considerate. Just think about. I just went over 3,500 subscribers, and I do this by myself. I don't have a secretary or anything. I don't even make that. I don't make a lot of money. A lot of you who subscribed or made a donation, you're getting a damn good deal. What I ask, okay? Damn good deal. I figured it out, okay? These are all the affidavits right here. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4 windows. These are affidavits, 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 affidavits. Okay? Now, the amount of money I'm asking for a donation, it works out to about $1.50 an affidavit. Okay? Where the fuck you gonna get that? And listen, if anybody gets offended with my language, I apologize. Okay? It's some idiot harassing me on an email because he didn't like my donation price. He just wanted to give me what he can afford. And I'm like, sorry, pal, it doesn't work that way. Everybody on my channel has financial problems. You know, and listen, some people I give it to them for nothing if they're in really bad shape. You know, I can't ask a guy who's homeless for a donation. Okay? It's pretty difficult to do. You know, that guy needs help. I think everybody watch my videos will understand that. Okay? But you know, in the wee hours of the night, that's usually when like mental patients or people with insomnia or people who had mental issues are up in the middle of the night sending Rick emails harassing him, you know, telling him, you know, comparing my affidavits because it only costs $7.50 to file paperwork with the courts. Yeah, you're right, it's $7.50, dummy, but it's the words that you file. That's the most important stuff. It's my words that are important. I know how to put them together, and I'm going to prove it to you right now. All right, so right here, H. Thomas Yates, one of you guys, all right? So he went to court. Now, I've always told you guys, when you go to court or when you file these papers, you must believe in them. You have to know them. You have to stand behind them. So, thankfully, I did the video the other day, and I said, don't say too much. Just, you know what? I'm resting on my paper because they're going to try and trip you up. Well, that's what they tried to do with Thomas here. Okay? So, he went in there yesterday, and some of you might have already read this while I'm yapping. But we're going to read the email, and this is proof that this stuff works. Okay? This works. Okay, so now, we'll read it right now. Rick, my brother, Guy, let me tell you, this morning I went into Putnam County Circuit Court to talk with the ADA, Assistant Deputy Attorney, and the judge, who is fucking with me about the support order. However, first I went to see the sheriff. Now, that's very nice to have. And I've said this in my videos before. You know, I'll say it for the millionth time. I'm a retired police officer. I know this is criminal. And I would encourage you to go to the police department or the sheriff's department and try and file a complaint. If you have a withholding order with no judicial signature, try and get a complaint if you can. Okay, one of my subscribers / friends, Dean, did that here in New York, and Dean's kicked ass, fucking well-spoken guy, intelligent guy, and he was dealing with a moron police officer. You gotta remember something. These police officers took multiple choice test, and then you gotta take a psychological to get on, and the psychological is to see if you're going to be a good slave, okay? You're going to be a good robot, if you're going to do what they want you to do. I lied my fucking teeth off to get my job, okay? And when I was a police officer, I butt heads with my bosses all the time because I'm not a yes man, okay? So I'm a free thinker, and you know, I had a very, very good career. I told you guys I'm very well trained. I have an excellent resume, and you know, I was an instructor, and that's why I'm good at doing these videos. But he tried to show this moron cop the fucking income withholding order, the idiot was like, well, he was talking like a ghetto guy, This is just the way the cop was talking. And don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to offend anybody. But this is the way he was speaking. He was like, well, child support can get their money any way they can. It's like, and Dean's like, yeah, but it's got to be legal. Yeah, that too. Oh, man. But this is what you're dealing with. And I understand the frustration. Trust me. But I still think you should try. The ideal way of doing it, I believe, is to I tried to tell Dean. I don't think I told him in time. Don't go to the precinct. Go to the child support place and call 911 and have them respond. And they're going to ask you, well, why are you calling them? And say, well, they're stealing my money. And then you show them the income withholding order. You show them that box where it says judicial signature, and that's blank. And then you show them the box where it says it's issued by a child support agency and not a court. Okay? There's a reason why that's there. And that's a fraudulent instrument. And by the letter of the law, that's a fraudulent instrument. And once they've stolen $1 from you, it becomes a fraud and a larceny. Okay? So, and then when they respond, they have to do something because the call was already generated. And then I would recommend you having a witness there with you, and I recommend you filming it. Okay? And if you think it's starting to go wrong, then you just back off. Say, okay, I don't want anybody getting arrested over this. You shouldn't be arrested when you call the cops and file a complaint against somebody. But these are crazy times that we're living in, and there are a lot of stupid police officers. There are more dumb cops than there are smart cops, I can tell you that. Right, Mike Gilligan? Mike's a retired cop. We enjoy sharing stories of some of the stupidity we had to deal with. And not the stupidity of the public. Okay? So have the cops show up and you explain to them. Okay? And that's what Thomas did here. He was lucky enough he knows the sheriff, and the sheriff was a witness in there. Okay, so, however, first I went to see the sheriff, a guy I used to work with professionally, a good man of moral virtue, sound character. I asked him to be my champion or be his witness. That's really what he wanted. Or at the very least, sit and observe, witness. Observe the injustice, and he agreed. Thankfully, I just feel more confident, somewhat protected to speak and stand up for this, which is good. Well, that was his witness. I encouraged you guys to do the same thing. Maybe not a sheriff, but have a witness. Always have a witness. Whenever I went to court, my videos, there's one where I'm serving a summons, because this is when I was trying to sue. I had my friend Ronnie with me. I always went there with a witness. Okay? Not when I was in the hearing, because they don't allow witnesses. What a coincidence that is. Do you think there's a reason why you're in a hearing room and they won't let anybody in there and they don't want you to have a recording device? Because they're breaking the law and they know it. Okay. Let me tell you, they were flabbergasted with the barrage of affidavits, motions, demands, etc. that I filed. Those are what he filed. He filed my paperwork. So today's meeting was to go over the merits of my filings. After about 2 hours of them trying to circle jerk me with state law this, federal guidelines that, state of Michigan, this, did this, we are just enforcing it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you get it? All the while with the sheriff sitting there, bored as hell, but at least appearing interested in the debate. I told them I stand on what paperwork was filed, and that every participant, now see this? I have a video where I'm confronting the support magistrate, and I'm like, I kept interrupting. I'm like, do you understand that fraud is a crime? And I kept saying that to her until she acknowledged. You got to get, see what you're doing is you're giving them notice. That's what my paperwork does also. They're all noticed. Once you're noticed, and they don't proceed properly, they are now in jeopardy of losing their judicial immunity. And that's what Thomas is telling them right here. That every participant in this fraud and extortion, said it just like that, is hereby placed on notice, okay, what a coincidence, to proceed, I just said that, with caution in how they handled this action from this moment on and that I spoke with them previously, and no one was willing to talk like men until now. I bent their ears for the first time with intelligent discussion on the rule of law. Both the ADA and the judge basically left it at give us some time. Really what they're doing is give us some time to try and figure out how to fuck you. But guess what? They're not going to be able to. Thomas gave them, they had 2 hours and they couldn't do it. Okay, to review and check some of the things you were saying, and that I was basically saying so much, too much for any singular discussion and or consideration, which is bullshit. They could have just dismissed it right there. Brother, thank you. Together, one person at a time, and armed with knowledge, the people can stop this victimization. I had a few people, now listen to this, from clerk and master's office, come get my number to talk to me some more. See, Thomas, now let me tell you something. This is my paperwork, but he got it. He did the work. Okay? He understood my message. And he understood it so strongly that he was able to go in there and get his message out there. Okay? He did the work. He just had my paperwork and he comprehended it and he got it. And this is what it, like he said, one person at a time. Yeah. Oh, excuse me about that. Remember a few months ago, James from Ohio, same thing happened with him. He submitted the paperwork and he ran into one of the like security guards or whatever that worked there a couple hours later, and he said that they were all in the back going over the paperwork and they couldn't believe it. They never seen anything like it before. Okay? And that's what's going on here. Okay? This is what my paperwork does. Okay? I write it in such a way that if it's, you ever get it to the right person, it could do some damage. Okay? And he's not the first person. All right? But I'm showing you this because I want every one of you to recognize what you have if you get my paperwork, and then you believe in what the message is. What I would suggest you do is, if you really want to memorize this stuff, is to maybe just type it and retype it over a couple of times, and you'll memorize it through repetition. Okay, like a song. Like, how do you remember things in a song? You just keep on hearing a song, and you remember the words. So that way you can remember this stuff. That way when you go into court, you don't need to have the paperwork in front of you, and if a judge tries to trip you up, you have it. You don't got to keep fumbling for the paperwork. You have it in your mind, and you understand it, like Thomas did here. Okay. So let me get back to Thomas's message here. Again, not much as far as headway in my case, but milestone in this little town. No one, I mean no one, in 221 years Tennessee I think it's Tennessee, has been a state, has done this. Not in Putnam County anyways. Much love and blessings to you, brother. Sorry to be so long-winded, but way too good for you not to know. Hey, this makes me feel good, and I hope it makes you guys feel good. That this stuff, it's not a waste of your money, and you're not going to be laughed out of court. Okay, you're going to be taken serious. This is what happened with me. Okay, goodbye, wife. My wife's leaving. And I'm telling you, they treat me with a lot of respect. Like when I go to the clerk's office to file my paperwork, I'm Mr. Wyman all the time. They all know who I am now, and it's because of my paperwork. Okay, they know I'm right. They know they know I have the channel. They know I'm getting the message out there, and like Thomas says here, one person at a time. We can stop the victimization. Joel went to court a couple days ago. I told you, and he did good. So one person at a time, we can get this done. All right, just believe in it. I need you to understand this. I need you to understand what's going on. And what you need to understand is that every one of you, you have constitutional rights as men and women. Do not call yourself a citizen. You're not a citizen. When you're a citizen, you got to ask permission. When you're a man and a woman, you're a king and you're a queen. You call the shots, not them. Once you understand that, you could change things. You could turn things around. That the judge, you work for me. I don't work for you. And here's another thing. My man Bob in upstate, he was in court yesterday, and he was dealing with one of these non-judicial persons, a support magistrate. And this is what I want you guys to understand this. So now, pay attention right now. When a judge or any one of these people tell you they get their jurisdiction from some statute, you say this: jurisdiction comes from a law. Look at me. Comes from evidence, not a law. So does a man or a woman who commits a murder goes to prison because of murder, the law, or murder, the evidence of the dead body and the gun and the blood? Remember, I've always said that. You can't go through a red light. But when does the law come into play? When they have evidence that you broke the law. So the evidence of the jurisdiction comes from evidence. Okay, if you go watch Joe's videos, when he says clarification of evidence of jurisdiction. Evidence of jurisdiction. Without evidence, there's no jurisdiction. You don't get jurisdiction. Jurisdiction does not come from a black robe and a fucking hammer, a gavel. So I just told Bob, I go, just next time you tell them a law does not give you jurisdiction. Evidence gives you jurisdiction. Where is the evidence? Just remember that. Remember, objection. Where is objection. Clarification of evidence. That's what I put in my paperwork too. A lot at the end of it, I'm like, if you're going to dismiss this, dismiss it with clarification of the evidence. What they're notorious for doing is dismiss without merit. All right, but why? What evidence did you have that I don't have merit? And they can't, because they just pull in their their rubber stamped dismissal bullshit. All right, so listen. Okay, this is for driver's license suspension. This is to be filed before you go to court. If you got an upcoming hearing, okay. These are the affidavits for every kind of thing, for child support. This is half of the PDFs, and this goes to the Secretary of Health, Secretary OG, misspelling that, OG, Health and Human Services. And what the purpose of this is a lot of you have had your income taxes seized because they claim that you owe the United States money for child support. Well, remember I told you guys, it's a debt has to come from a determination, because under Executive Order 130/19, the Debt Collection Improvement Act by 1996, that's the executive order that these people are working off of to take your money for child support debt. And who runs it? What do you call it? It's the formatted, okay, by the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Secretary of the Treasury. Okay, they're the ones that are supposed to set the whole thing up. So if you read 45 CFR, Part 30, Part 31, and Part 32, and then you go to Law 31 USC 3720 here, 3716 and 3711. If you read those, everything goes through the Secretary of Health and Human Services. And what we're trying to do is, okay, can you please show me? What we're doing is we're trying to get evidence of a debt. Okay, that's what this is here. Now look at this. Look at this nasty boy. I'm going to show you. Okay. 1 second. I'm waiting for a window to pop up. Okay, this is the validation of a Title 4A, Title 4D debt. You can't have a 4D collection effort without a Title 4A debt. Okay, so the undersigned claim debtor is requiring the validation of claim debt under the Debt Collection Improvement Act of 1996, DCIA, which is codified at 31 U.S.C. 3720, 45 CFR 32.4, and declaration. And what we're doing is we're declaring our rights guaranteed in the United States of America. Okay, I'm describing here what a default for this is going to be. A default for this validation of debt is defined. Now you got to understand, this is a contract we're making with them. We have every right under the law to verify the alleged debt against us. So what I'm doing here is like, okay, you need to validate this debt. Now, if any of you out there have my old one where I'm talking about the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, get rid of that. Okay, it's right, but these guys already have an answer for it. They have all these bullshit lower court decisions. And I'm going to do a video quickly explaining to you the courts. A couple of you, I understand, are confused about it. Okay, the lower courts are the courts that steal the money, and the higher courts are the ones that let them keep it. But the higher courts are the ones that do the reviewing. It's called a judicial review. And you don't have to be present for that, technically. It's called the appellate courts. Okay? And what they do is they judicially review all the facts. And then they make a decision. That's where a lot of these case laws arise from. And then if it goes bad in the appellate court, you go to the Court of Appeals. Now, what the Court of Appeals does, that's the highest court in every state, is their job is to make sure that your constitutional rights or guarantees were not deprived. But what are we always arguing in the lower courts? We're always arguing about statutes. Okay, that's why I have the affidavit for, demanding a trial by jury, right? 7th Amendment. If we don't ask for it, it's waived. You understand? And understand this. Only you can waive it. Nobody else can waive this for you. So that's why we do it. So if some idiot is saying to you, well, the statute says that we don't give you trial by jury, then you're going to say, well, your statute is unconstitutional. That's it. Okay. And then you get some idiot like Joel got the other day and says, well, I'll see you in Court of Appeals. You say, objection. You're knowingly exceeding your jurisdiction. And you're forfeiting your judicial immunity. And you're violating my rights. Something like to that effect. All right. So I gotta speed this up. All right. So again, a default for this validation of debt is defined as a failure to respond within 30 days with evidence of a debt recorded within the county clerk's office. A lien. All of these money judgments have to be recorded as liens. But because they're debts created out of thin air, it's never recorded in the clerk's office. And this is one of the things that I have you do. That's why there's a lot of paperwork, and that's why I don't have you just dealing with the courts. I have you dealing with the clerk's office, which is, technically the court, but a different branch of the court. And then I have you dealing with, look, right here, director or commissioner of child support. What I'm doing, it's all evidence. And why am I doing this? That way, when it's time to go to that appellate court, you have everything you need. That you're boxing them in, that they have no choice but to find for you. That way, we don't give them any chance, any doubt that that they'll dismiss your case. Okay, number 2, failure to provide proof of an income withholding order authorized. Now again, I found that it is the Secretary of Health and Human Services right here. Look up 45 CFR part 36.2, and you'll see I'm right. Okay? This is Rick Doug, and I found this. This was part of the matrix in the video I did 3 months ago. But I didn't want to give it out because I didn't want any other channel stealing my information. Okay? The only guy that, knows about this is Amin Osiris. All right? Me and him, we're not partners, but we're like partners in this knowledge game. We don't hide anything from each other. If somebody's his enemy, it's my enemy. And if they're my enemy, it's his enemy. That's the way we operate. Okay? He helped me out a bunch. And he's one of my biggest fans. And obviously, I'm always talking about him. He's he's the God of law. And he deemed me the God of dismissal. I'm the only guy out there that he gave that title to. Okay? So what does that tell you? You go watch his video. You're going to tell me he doesn't know what he's talking about. Shit. Okay, number 3. Failure to provide proof of a court-ordered money judgment. Remember, a court order is really a money judgment. Issued by a trial court. Only a trial court can issue a money judgment. Where does a money judgment have to come from? Remember, what did we discuss the other day? A trial by jury. So if you have a judge-issued money judgment, it's void. Why? Because it wasn't issued by a trial by jury. All you gotta do is look. A lot of these like big time awards to say like you hear about somebody gets $30 million from an insurance company. It always comes from a jury trial, and it's the jury that decides what the punitive damages is. Just go see the movie with Matt Damon, The Rainmaker. It's called. There was a trial. There's always a trial involved. Okay, you don't ever want to have a bench trial with a judge. Trust me. We know how corrupt they are. 28 U.S.C., remember? 28 U.S.C. Section 1691. All orders must be signed by a judicial officer. Remember, what else do we have to back that up? Burnham versus Superior Court. Supreme Court case that says a non-judicial person cannot issue a judgment because why? It's void. It's quorum non-judice. Okay? Oh, I added it. There you go. See? I forgot I added this. If you see right here. Before a person, not a judge. Meaning, in effect, that the proceeding in question was not a judicial proceeding because lawful authority was not present and could therefore not yield a judgment. Beautiful. Okay. 1990, not that long ago. I mean, it's 27 years ago, but in the world of law, that's not that long ago. Number 4 is failure to provide proof showing this title for the collection agency is the creditor. If they're not the creditor, they're a third party. A lot of times, in their paperwork, they claim to be the creditor. Because in New York State, they'll say, the judgment creditor is New York State. When they're really not. Okay? Because they're supposedly collecting the debt arising from public assistance. All right? As intentional acts of concealment and obstruction of unlawful collection of invalidated debts by staying silent when commanded to validate this debt. Then I remember what am I talking about we have to do? The response to default. What I'm telling them, this is what we're going to do. And this is really for the lawyers. Because one guy was telling me that with these interrogatories, the lawyer was like, I just throw that in the garbage. Okay, but we have to do the interrogatories because we have to present it to the appellate court that we tried. We exhausted that remedy. Okay, there's a method to I don't think it's madness. It's just a method to what we're doing. Writ of mandamus to compel in a court of competent jurisdiction. That's res judica. Okay, is a adjudicated case in a court of competent jurisdiction. Well, we know a lot of these cases aren't because a court of specialized jurisdiction, limited jurisdiction, cannot issue a money judgment because they don't hold jury trials. Okay? Beautiful. Writ of prohibition in a court of competent jurisdiction. Writ of discovery. Personal damages arising from trespass and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, all right. I'm going to end this video. I've talked on enough. I hope that I got my message to you guys. I hope that you saw that the paperwork is strong and when used properly will get you respect in the court. All right? I guarantee you this ADA and this judge, they're not sure what to do. Okay? They got to be careful. They don't want to be sued. Okay? And they can be sued. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.